Alright everybody, welcome back. If you haven't seen one of my last videos where I said we broke everything, that's because my dad broke his trans and I hurt my motor. Here's a clip of one of the passes right here. So I had made 4 passes that day. The first one, everything was fine. It made the whole trip. But the last 3, I kept hitting a cut right at first to second gear. And it was an oil pressure cut. And I have the log right here. I'll show you guys. So the purple line right here, that's the oil pressure. And the minimum and the maximum is right here. And then this is a comparison. The dotted line is actually my first pass that I made that day. And then the solid line is the last pass. The purple line, that's what you're going to want to look at. That's the oil pressure. That's the difference right there. So pretty much my minimum for one is the maximum for the other. So not good at all. I thought that it was an oil filter issue because AC Delco, they just changed their whole manufacturing and their design of the filter, and everybody's been complaining about it. So I thought maybe it just collapsed. I've had that issue before. I just did an oil change before this. That's probably the issue. And it could have been the issue. It might have starved the engine. I don't know, but it really doesn't matter because all that I know is there was material in the oil when I drained it out. So I saw all that material in the oil. Ended up going down Ocean City for cruising week for the cars. I put up a little video of me down there so you guys could see all the cars. I enjoyed my time down there, but was still pretty bummed about the whole situation. And on that video where I said we broke everything, I pretty much said that the car was going to be down for who knows how long, and I probably won't be making videos for a while. And I didn't have really a plan in place at all. And then I told you guys the main reason I was bummed is because of the whole Fall Brawl thing. Fall Brawl is an annual rental. They've been doing it for 7 years now. It's a private track rental at Cecil. It's radio prepped all the way to the quarter mile. And it's just a good time. You get to see everybody. You get to meet new people that you only know online. Always get to make a personal best. The DAs always 0 or in the negatives. It's just perfect time to be at the track if you want to get a personal best to end the year off right. So I was real bummed about that because I ended up having to sell my ticket because I was like, there's no point. It's just a lot of work that I'd have to do in order to make that, especially with no shop. And then lately working until 4:30 every day. And then with it being winter time, it gets dark so early now. It would just leave me with no time. The rental was on November 10th and it's October 26th right now. So about 2 weeks away. So I'd have to pull the motor, tear it down, assess all the damage, order parts that I'm gonna need, then reassemble it, drop it back in the car, get it running, get the tune right. You know, who knows if the tune needs to be changed. Get it race ready, and that's all if the block is actually good or not. So like everybody else said, it's impossible. But as you can see by the title, I'm gonna try it anyway. And I'm not just gonna put bearings in it. I'm gonna rebuild the whole thing, turn it into a 5.3 in less than 2 weeks. And I forgot to mention, I've never ever even pulled an engine, let alone rebuild one. So So this is number 7 rod bearing, the one that's a little bent, and I mean, it's got markings on it, but you can't really feel anything. It's pretty smooth still, and it's silver. Definitely not the kind of material that's all in my pan. Yeah, that's more of like a copper or bronze or gold or something. Guess we'll try to pull the mains next. Well, number 4 was the first one I pulled. I don't know if I got lucky or maybe they all look like that. Also, number 7 rod is bent like a spaghetti noodle, so that's cool. Other than that, everything's perfect. So today is Monday, October 28th. 12 days until the car needs to be on the trailer. So the plan always was to just kill this 4.8. It was a Gen 3 motor, nothing special. The plan was just to blow it up at Fall Brawl, then take a break and work on the LC9 motor I got, that it's going to be a pretty nice piece, forged everything. Then the plan was, well, since this blew up, maybe I'll just put bearings in this motor. Then the plan was, I got a bunch of spare parts in my storage unit, specifically Gen 4 rods and pistons. And if I could just score a 3622 24X crank. Since I seen how bad the bearings chewed up my old crank, I found one about 10 minutes from my house that night. I could pretty much convert my block, my 4.8, into a 5.3. And, you know, with the Gen 3 stuff in there, over 30 pounds of boost, I'm already on the ragged edge as it is. So I always wanted to put Gen 4 stuff in there, and now that I got it, it would be the perfect time because the motor's out and it's hurt. So as long as the block's good, I can reuse the block and put a little bit better stuff in it, because the block, when I got this motor, it was already machined, line honed, everything was cleaned up. It had fresh cam bearings in it. Everything was squared. It was decked. Everything was good on this block. Somebody spent a lot of time getting it right for them, but I bought it before they actually ran it. So I'm gonna end up pulling the heads off and seeing how everything looks, and then that'll be able to tell me if I need to get a whole new short block, just not do this at all, or just throw the Gen 4 stuff in it. So I'm gonna get ready to pull the heads off and see how they look. Well, just took one of the heads off, and man, this block still looks pretty good. These are the original gaskets, 6.0 LS9s. Never been off the car. Head's never been off the car since I put it together. You can see it's got some time on it for sure, but nothing looks crazy. Like I said, block still looks really good. Still got nice cross hatching and all. Welcome to my shop. I wish. Here's a little midweek update. It's October 30th, the day before Halloween, so I'm not gonna be able to work on this tomorrow, but where we're at right now, got the rods and pistons out. Here's lucky number 7. Probably hard to see, but she got a little bend to it. Gen 3 rods. Popped all them out. I'm having a hell of a time getting this crank bolt out, so I got a socket showing up tomorrow. Gonna try that, and I gotta be able to get the crank out, cam, all that. I don't know if I'm gonna clean this block that good. Just get most of the bearing material out, which I already have. But since I'm stripping it down, I might as well clean it. Gonna rough this up a little bit, clean the heads a little bit. I got the first set of my Gen 4 rods and pistons soaking in some Totally Awesome, and I'll switch that over, put 4 more in tomorrow. I've got all the parts organized in these bins. This is supplies and tools and stuff, and the other pistons. Yeah, other than that, we should be all right. Fall Brawl is in 10 days. I know that seems like a lot, but it's really not a lot when you have 2 hours a day to work. You know, it's getting dark now, and then after this weekend, it's going to be really dark. So I'm kind of in a crunch, kind of taking my time. I don't want to rush it just for one rental. It's really not that big of a deal, but it's something that I always do. It's good weather. But if it don't happen, it don't happen. If anything, I can go to Cecil or whatever the following weekend, or you can just keep it in street trim and make hits on the street, whatever. Just trying to get up and running as fast as possible. The only thing left is pretty much clean the block, start assembling everything. I'm gonna clean up some of the engine bay while the motor's out. And then once the engine's in, I would really like to have the engine in by Sunday night, at least this weekend. If it's in, then I'm on schedule. I'll definitely make it. Then it's going to be trying to buy a ticket. I had a ticket, I sold it. I kind of want to buy one now, but it's kind of dumb if I'm going to sell that one again. So I'm probably going to end up waiting till the last minute and trying to find somebody that has one for sale. If I can't buy one, Brandon might hook it up. I don't know. But yeah, that's just a little update. One-man band, no shop, no team, no help at all. I've never done any of this. It's the first, and I'm having fun doing it. So a lot of people ask for an update. There's the update, and I'll probably check back in Friday, I guess. All right, it's getting a little late for me. It's past my bedtime, but I got to do an update. I said I would, so I got to do it. Somebody just reminded me. So today was pretty much just a cleaning day. I cleaned the deck surface. I got all the residue off just with Scotch-Brite and WD-40. I cleaned out the cylinders a little bit. They still need to be done before I install the pistons. From my last update, I couldn't get this bolt off, so I ordered me a man-size socket, and literally first zip, got it off. I was reading the reviews. I was like, there's no way this is going to work, but I'm running out of options, and literally it took it right off. So I was able to get everything else off, pulled the cam out. I looked at the cam bearings. Not the best looking. It's mostly just the edges, like the inside of it. But whatever, we're gonna let it fly. Yes, I was able to get everything off. I took a chaser that I made to clean out the head bolt holes, and I kind of tapped some other threads just to make everything easy when it's going back together. I cleaned the oil pan out. I cleaned the pickup tube, had a bunch of metal in it. I cleaned all the little crevices out of the block to get all the metal out of it. Here's the Gen 4 pistons. They cleaned up super good. I just got to go over them a little bit, get some of that flash rust off. But I mean, if you guys seen what these looked like before, big difference. I mean, that totally awesome, worked great. So this is all good. And I think since these rings on my old pistons look like they're upgraded and still in good condition, I think I'm just gonna swap these over. But yeah, like I said, everything's cleaned, everything's ready for assembly. So real quick, I just put the new crankshaft in, cleaned everything up real good. I slapped the new bearings in, and unfortunately, these are a little too tight. They ended up being like 15. That was the best one, and that ended up being 20, I believe. 0020. Number 4 was the one I was worried about since it spun, so I kind of did some sanding on it. But yeah, they're all pretty much 15. So I'm gonna have to order some new bearings, which is really gonna throw me back a lot because they're not gonna get here until Sunday. I got 1,000 extra clearance, so that should make the 15s 25. And that's right where I want them to be from the research I've done. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But yeah, it don't seem like much, but I was out here putting a lot of work today. That all that little stuff that you think is not going to take so long ends up taking a lot longer than you think, like the cleaning process and all. But at least it's all done, it's all clean. And the only thing that's holding me up is going to be these bearings. If I wait 2 days, I'm literally going to be stuck here doing nothing because I can't do anything else until that cranks in. So that's the update. Don't seem like much, but little by little. So with me having all this time to wait for the bearings to show up, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because as I was swapping the piston rings over to the new ones, and I was going to keep them all in the same hole, but I figured, let me measure each one just to see where they're at, see where the machine shop put them. Well, I throw them in the cylinder, and they measured like 11 to 12 thousandths. And I couldn't believe it because they looked like they were almost touching. And it's been in the car, ran hard on 30 pounds plus for years, and it's never been an issue. So luckily, I bought all the tools, the filer and all, to do all this. So I got that all squared away. I got each one good. I swapped all the rings over to the new pistons. And as soon as them bearings show up, I'll be ready to throw the crank in. And then these pistons and rods, I can just slap them right in, and we'll be good to go. Sunday evening update. We got a short block. Pretty much. Gotta put the cam in and all. On my last video, I said that I was waiting on extra clearance bearings. They came in today. Yesterday, the only thing I did was file the rings because the rings that were in my 4.8 were like 0.11. So I made them 26, 28 in that range. It's crazy that I was running for 3-4 years on 11th thou. Crazy that I didn't get a ring land, but so then today the bearings came in around 1 o'clock. I slapped the crank in and then put the rods and pistons in. I only broke one ring going in because I was using this junk. One of these, I should have just bought the tapered one. I don't know why I didn't. But yeah, I broke one. Luckily I have extras, so it wasn't a big deal. Those following, I said that I would have liked this to be in today, but that ain't gonna happen. So I'm gonna try to slap the heads on tomorrow, and then maybe sometime in the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, be able to throw it back in the car. We'll see, as long as I don't hit any roadblocks. Putting the heads on and all, I went back with the tried and true China head studs. That's what I used before, never had an issue, so I bought a new set of them. Got a new cam plate, using the same cam, the Summit Stage 2. Everything else is staying the same, so it should go together pretty good. I got new rod bearings, extra clearance, just to be safe. They were good. So what's crazy is this has the same mains. It never went to the machine shop, so that means this whole time the main and rod bearing clearance was way too tight. The ring gap was too tight and all the bearings were way too tight, and somehow I never had an issue. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, but yeah, we're gonna try to put in some work, even though it's getting dark early now. It's 5:30 right now, but I'm gonna try my hardest to get it ready for Sunday. So the last day or so, I've just been in grind mode. I haven't filmed anything. I haven't taken any kind of videos. So just so there's no gap in the video that I'm gonna put out, I cleaned the engine bay, got a lot of the grease and oil, nasty stuff out of the engine bay. I cleaned up some of the wiring while the engine was out of it. Added some firewall grommets and blocked the firewall at some spots. I cleaned the heads really good, and that took longer than I thought it was going to take, but the result was worth it. I could have just taken it to the machine shop and probably waited a week or so for them to do it all. It's probably due for a valve job because there was a lot of nasty stuff around there, and I'd like to get them done eventually, but right now I just don't have the time for it. But as you can see, the way I did it, it cleaned up good. I just used WD-40 brake cleaner and Scotch-Brite, and then I got some real fine wet sandpaper with WD-40 and a straight edge, and just went over it a couple times to make them smooth, and they look really good. I'm happy with the result. So then the next day, I got ready to put the heads on, so I screwed in the Chinese eBay studs, put them on, put fresh LS9 head gaskets on with that, torqued it 25, 50, 70, and they all felt great. I used the ARP lube, so they stayed good. I didn't feel anything like it was going to break. They went on very good. The quality of them, I'm impressed, because I didn't do the last ones. My dad did, and he said they were a little sketchy, but this time it ended up working out good. So with the heads on, I put the rockers on, I put the push rods in, the valve covers, and it's pretty much complete and ready to go in. So tomorrow it's time to throw it on back in there.
Ready when you are.
This is it. It's November 9th, Saturday. The rental is tomorrow, so it needs to be on the trailer tonight. I spent the day going up to Pennsylvania, an hour away, to pick up some radials. I mounted them on the beadlocks. I made some suspension adjustments in the back. I took all the weight out. I put the front end back on, put the hood on, wired everything up, buttoned everything up, hooked everything up. And I had to wash it because it was filthy from sitting these past couple of days. But it all comes down to this point right here. All the work these past 2 days that I've put in, I haven't even driven it yet. So I'm about to drive it for the first time, 5.3 powered. And right after that, I need to be driving it right onto the trailer because I need to get some sleep. Because in the morning, we're headed to Cecil for Fall Brawl.
Listen.
I hear it over there.
He's gonna get. Hear him?
That was so cool! I want to make this a YouTube video. No, this whole thing, the thing I'm recording. And hopefully we can edit these two clips and put them together. And this is my dad. He owns the channel Be More Fox.
Yeah, as soon as I go into it. Happened last time I messed with that coupler. It's probably this one right here. Well, as much as I'd love to say everything's great and ready to go, it's not. That little street launch was great. It got on the brake super quick. I couldn't believe it. And everything seems to be running pretty good with minimal changes to the tune. The first time I took it out, it popped the coupler off and broke the whole T-bolt clamp. So luckily, somehow, my dad had one hidden somewhere. He found it though, and I was able to replace that, because at that point it was still early enough I could go to like Home Depot and just get one, but he found one, thank God. But there's another issue. I got back, loaded it up on the trailer, and I seen in the driveway there was a pretty big oil leak. Not just a little drop here and there, like a half a quart leak. And all I'm thinking of is rear main seal. Maybe I didn't install it right. Maybe one of the plugs is loose. So it's on the trailer at this point. We're looking, it's like 10 o'clock. And couldn't really find out where it was coming from. All I know is the whole side of the block, the bell housing, was all soaked with oil. So I'm like, after all I've been through, there's no way this can stop me. So I looked hard. I got every flashlight out. I'm looking on the trailer. And it's like it was a sign. It just popped right out at me. The valley cover gasket was on the other way. It was flipped. That's what happens when you're working outside with some flashlights. You make mistakes like that. Because the bolt hole is still lined up, but I just put it on wrong. So there was a gap like that, where oil was just squirting out everywhere. So at this point, it's like 10:30 at night, and I would love to just go home and go to sleep, but I'm like, I got to get this done. So I pulled the whole intake off on the trailer, and I got it. So we are ready. I need to get some sleep. Just chill. I can sleep now. Like, all the stress is gone. Now it's just making it to the track and making a pass. The hard part's done. And you guys will have to wait till next video for that. I'm sorry, but this video is already too long. So stick around. In a couple days I'll drop part 2 to this and see if it works out. See if it makes a pass. See if it oils down the track. Stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched this all the way through, I appreciate you. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys soon.